entry, dear viewer. Welcome back, guys. I am Captain Foley, consulting detective, and I just wanted to take this opportunity to show you some of my Sherlock Holmes collection. I've been teasing Sherlock Holmes stuff on this channel for some time. I have been a lifelong Sherlock Holmes fan, and I'm going to go through a lot of my collection right now, just kind of do a breeze over of the shelves, see what there is on there, and if you guys are interested in anything, put it in the comment section down below. I will definitely be making specific videos about specific items down the road, but I want your input. I want to hear what you guys want to see more of. So, first off, I just want to talk about the Deerstalker cap. This is actually a genuine Sherlock Holmes one from 221B Baker Street. It says, the genuine handmade Sherlock Holmes Deerstalker, 221B, London. In 2019, had the opportunity to go to the UK, visited Samuel, went to the Birmingham Star Trek convention, and while I was there, of course, I had to check out 221B Baker Street, the museum. It is fantastic. It was my only time ever there. I've always wanted to go, so it was an honor to share it with my good friend Samuel. He got some really great footage of it. It's also in a captain's log that we did, or I did for the channel, so you can check that out as well. But I've got a genuine Deerstalker. I mean, I've had many over the years. I've got this one up here. I've got one downstairs, like my first one. They still all fit. They're different colors. I got some gray ones and things like that. So anyway, Deerstalker from actual 221B Baker Street, could not be happier. The Inverness Cape is actually a gift that my mother had commissioned for me back in the day when I was young. I was young once. It still fits, and it was actually made by a friend of hers who worked at the Stratford Festival Theatre. So this is actually made by, this is actually what they would wear in the Stratford Festival Theatre for the Inverness Cape. So I am totally stoked about that. Love this thing, and it even has a Stratford Festival tag in it that says to Stuart Foley, the play Happy Birthday. So this was a happy birthday gift, and I think it's fantastic. So anyway, guys, let's get into the collection. Let's take a look and see what you guys want to see more of. Let's go. So yeah, before we get into it, there's just the entire bookshelf of Sherlock Holmes stuff. I've got more scattered throughout the house, of course, but and also in the library here, there's just lots of random cool things. So there's, you know, it's the perfect place for some Sherlock Holmes stuff, I think. But anyway, so yeah, that's the Sherlock Holmes collection. So let's get into it. Alright, we'll go through this shelf by shelf. That Baker Street sign I got at the actual Baker Street 221B in London, Ontario, in London, England, when I went with Samuel, and that's just amazingly cool. This is in the 1980s, Canada Post had a new tracking system, so this take one. There was brochures in there about their new tracking system, and I still have one of the brochures somewhere. It had a Holmes on the front of it as well. But I had to get this display stand, and it was at the post office for months, and I hated it because I thought they were going to throw it out. Finally did get it, though, so it's kind of beaten up, but, you know. In there is one of my first magnifying glasses, just a standard one you bought at Leisure World, actually. Here is a Sherlock Holmes, the world's greatest detective mug, with some random Sherlock Holmes stuff in there, shotgun shells, different little old coins and stuff. We got a Sherlock Holmes bust, a little clock, a Deerstalker cap that I bought at McLeod's in Stratford, Ontario quite a few years ago. Really great quality. Also a real Deerstalker, but not a Sherlock Holmes one. This one is from Scotland there. It says the Sherlock, the Tweed Sherlock, made in Great Britain. So, still a great hat. Number of books here. Some old ones. Beaton's Christmas Annual, the first appearance of Sherlock Holmes there. Not a real one, I wish. Calabash pipe, just a Halloween prop. Some old little bullets, and it's actually an old pen set, And in there is also some pens as well, but a nice old display for that. We got a single-handed Crusader sword up there, not Sherlock Holmes related, but looks cool. Fossilized dinosaur bone and a fake skull. Here are a bunch of the audio dramas, books on tape that I have. Yes, there is some Basil Rathbone in there, but there's a multitude of others, all very, very, very cool. Little pocket watch. It's given to me by Sylvia's grandmother. Very cool. This one is actually my grandfather's pocket watch. That was passed down to my dad and then to me, and again is from the time period. So, and there's two other things here. I'm just going to throw this on the stand so we can take a look. Also up in the shelf you have an old lock from the time period. But this particular case here is just a nice presentation letter opener and magnifying glass that I got when I was younger. So this here is just a velvet case, again very old, and we know Sherlock Holmes had a problem with cocaine with a 7% solution. So what's in here is just a plastic syringe. It's not you know, it's not fit for the time period, but I need to get a real one. And then so just a representation of one of his foibles. So it's not real. No, I do not need to do cocaine. Don't worry about that. Here's my grandfather's pocket watch, as I said. Oops. There we go. Nice old pocket watch. Still works. Tickety tickety boo. Still keeps excellent time, which is awesome. So let's move to a different shelf now. Alright, so here we got my consulting detective game. This was awesome back in the day. I love the binder for it. Just really cool. And it's got a case book and clue book. Just different. Kind of like a choose your own adventure almost. But yeah, you select the location you want to go investigate, and there's a map that is actually downstairs. I got my old notes. That's funny, actually. Just a number of different books and collected works that I've got over the years there. So on this shelf here we got a lot of the classic looking spines anyway. Nice magnifying glass, almost era appropriate. I'm not quite sure the year, but this is an old fountain pen. We got a Bobby's police whistle. This is actually genuine silver, and it's very tarnished right now. So, little Sherlock Holmes statuette. This I got at 221B Baker Street in England as well. And this is also from there. This is one of the Sherlock Holmes business cards, which I always thought were very cool, as this is their information for the museum. You got their website, the address, the telephone number, and the hours and things like that. So very, very cool. Nice addition to the collection. This shelf has a variety of books, as you can see. It's also got an old pipe. Sherlock Holmes did smoke a number of pipes. This one, probably not. This is actually one of my dad's pipes. My dad smoked when I was younger, and I remember the smell of cherry tobacco quite well. So this is one of my dad's old pipes. Sure, it doesn't fit the era or whatever, but it has a look for Sherlock Holmes. So, I mean, that's what I grew up with, right? So, some Sherlock Holmes graphic novels, collected works, just a Sherlock Holmes keychain I got a number of years ago, which should actually be standing up, not lying down. This is a great book, actually. Sherlock Holmes, School of Self-Defense. You can get this on Amazon, actually. My daughter saw this, and a friend of hers had it, and she like had to show me and told me it was on Amazon, so I had to pick it up. So yeah, that's that shelf. Again, a number of great books and collected works that I wouldn't mind sharing with you guys at some point. But yeah, there's that. Again, a lot more books. There's actually the Sherlock Holmes official magazine, which has been out for 2 years now, I think. And of course I have all of those. Those are straight from England. So they kind of just sit on top there. Got an old ruler. This is actually my grandfather's, just a fold out ruler, but again, it looks era appropriate enough. And an old jackknife with like a shiny pearl coating on it. So sorry the lighting's not the best in here, guys, but anyway, here are some other things. This is from the Sherlock Holmes pubs that exist. This one was actually got from the West Edmonton Mall. So great pub, great food, great atmosphere, Sherlock Holmes stuff everywhere. Simply loved that. Again, some other great books, one or two duplicates, of course. This is the old Sherlock Holmes, the Lost Files of Sherlock Holmes computer game. But the Case of the Serrated Scalpel. You can see the funky graphics on that. Fun game, 8-bit adventure, so really cool. Little Sherlock Holmes. This is historical action figures. You can get like Albert Einstein and stuff like that, but there's a Sherlock Holmes one. Doesn't really do much of anything, but this here is one of my favorite things as well. Like Sherlock Holmes Murder Dossier. These are cool because they present the evidence like it's real evidence. Like notes. And newspaper articles and stuff like that. Telegrams. So we're going to look at that for sure in a future video. Because it definitely warrants it. So anyway, so that is that shelf there. This figure never stands up very well either. And yes, I do have the 12-inch Data as Holmes figure from Star Trek. So I do have that. So, all right, guys, let's go on to the next shelf. And one thing I did forget to show up here. Got a bunch of old newspapers, the Thames from like 1887. These are, a lot of them are replicas, obviously. The Sherlock Holmes Museum pamphlet. Again, I can't really see the view screen so well, so I'm not sure how well this is looking for you guys. We'll have to see in the editing if I need to refilm this whole video. But yeah, it shows all the things there. Stuff falling out all the time here on the floor. So yeah, love the replica newspapers and stuff. You get these with a lot of the games like Consulting Detective and stuff. And just sitting there on the shelf, they look really good. So moving on here, we have more books. As you can see, lots of books. I also collect pocket watches, so I've got a lot of older pocket watches. So, and some newer ones. This is a new one, but yeah, these here, this is an old Canadian Railways book, and these are actually from my grandfather. He was a sergeant and trained the American or the Canadian troops before they went overseas. So these are all of his old training manuals. Obviously not era appropriate, but you know, some really cool stuff. I wouldn't mind doing a video on these actually. So But again, they look old, they look appropriate for a Sherlock Holmes display, so here they are. So a lot of old, or just collections, novels, different authors. This is just a After Eight tin. I love After Eights. They're my favorite chocolate. I get them every year for Christmas. And this one has the Big Ben on it, so it makes sense to go there. More of the Sherlock Holmes business cards. I scooped a bunch when I was at the museum, so I don't know if I was supposed to take that many, but I don't care. Another fake calabash pipe. Sherlock Holmes Collector's Edition. These are some movies here. Incident at Victoria Falls, Sherlock Holmes and the Leading Lady, and The Secret Identity of Jack the Ripper. So they're pretty great, actually. So the DVDs are downstairs, but you can't go wrong with the look of that collector's tin there. But honestly, probably one of my favorite things on this shelf is this. You're like, what the hell is that? Well, this is one of the Watsons that played in the Granada TV series with Jeremy Brett. There were two, Edward Hartwig and Burke was the other one. I can't remember the names right now. I need to brush up on my home stuff before I talk to you about this. But the new show Elementary came on, and I think Johnny Lee Miller makes a fantastic Holmes. But I was not happy about Lucy Liu being portrayed as Watson, because I'm just not a fan of Lucy Liu at all. So my brother, of course, being the big brother that he is, gave me this for my birthday. So it's on a paint stick, just a little 3D Watson there. And on the other side is this. So he said every time that Watson's on screen, when Lucy Liu's on screen and she's annoying you, hold this up in front of her face, and then this guy can talk for her. So everything she says, just put this up and pretend that it's, you know, a Watson you actually like. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, I want to talk a lot about some of this stuff, like the Jeremy Brett Granada series and stuff, because it means a lot to me. Jeremy Brett is the definitive Sherlock Holmes. Now this shelf is kind of the odd shelf out, as most of these books, as you can see, are not Sherlock Holmes. This, however, is really awesome. This was given to me by my good friend Matt Toms when I was over in the UK as well. He bought this for me and thought I would love it, and I absolutely do. It is fantastic. I wouldn't mind getting it framed at some point, but right now it's just sitting here kind of blocking the fact that those aren't Sherlock Holmes books. On top here we got some things that fall, but these are like from my grandfather from his regiment. Again, not era appropriate, but you know. So this is his regiment there, the Highland Light Infantry. Some old Canadian money from the 80s, which actually is looking kind of old right now. Not in great shape, these notes, but I think they look cool. They look like old, currency, so of course they're up there. Random old pictures of people. An old Canadian ration book that I found. So again, just lots of old random stuff that, when it's on the shelf here, looks like it's Sherlock Holmes related. I just dropped my bobby whistle. It does work, but tastes like ass because it's, like I said, it's sterling silver. So there's my Papa's regiment, and my Papa is right there, this guy. Again, just some other old books and things as well. So, yeah. Moving on now. Alright, so bottom shelf here we got some games. Sherlock, or Baker Street, and the Time Machine. Basically Sherlock Holmes, and you have to time travel to solve like Kennedy's murder and stuff like that. We got The Adventures of the Speckled Band. It's a jigsaw puzzle that you put together and it reveals clues. Another 221B. This is just a master detective game. These, The Mansion Murders, Adventures by Gaslight, and the Queen's Park Affair, are supplements to the consulting detective game that you saw up there. These I'm going to look at in a separate video, just because there's so much cool stuff. There's a picture of Jeremy Brett, actually. And I used to print out, like, this is, my mom typed this, she was a secretary. This is the actual legend of the Hound of the Baskervilles. And as a kid I made it like 1742 AD with like, it's that stencil stuff you put on and you rub a pencil on it. So the old looking document. Here's the note from Irene Adler that my mom typed out for me. So, I mean, I was a weird kid, what can I say? But yeah, this is the same kind of thing as the consulting detective. You got a bunch of letters and stuff to Sherlock Holmes and, you know, really cool stuff in that regard. So, yeah, I think I'm going to do a special on these. That was the box, not me, guys. I'm going to do a special on these games particularly because you have the consulting detective game, but these are the supplements for it. Got casebook, you got fake newspapers in there, you got fake postcards.
Could you try again?
No, I couldn't. With like codes on them and stuff. Okay, I'm gonna throw my watch through the wall in a minute. That again was the box, guys. This video is not coming together as well as I would have liked it to. We also have the Mansion Murders. Yeah, this is a impromptu video for sure. I didn't really plan on making a video today, but here we are. Again, you got newspaper archive, so they kind of got stingy near the end and just included all the newspapers in like this instead of actually printing out like fake newspaper things. Here's the map of London. Little Sherlock Holmes in the corner there. But yeah, I actually have one of these framed downstairs. My mom got one framed for me because I was such a Holmes fan. It was hanging on my bedroom wall for years. It's downstairs right now, hanging on the wall. So again, that was the box. Those boxes are really shitty because they all did that. But yeah, so some crazy games and stuff there. So moving on though. So nothing super special to report here. Just some fan club magazines for Sherlock Holmes fan clubs over the years. A bunch of novels. Actually, if I move this here, this is kind of cool. This is a Sherlock Holmes puzzle collection. So it's all just like logic puzzles and stuff in the Sherlock Holmes style, which is kind of fun if you're into that kind of thing. So put that back. But yeah, so nothing special on that shelf, really. And actually, that shelf I just showed you a second ago, and the thing I showed you at the beginning about the Canada Post, here's their trace mail options. So that's the Holmes that was on the pamphlet in Canada Post. So this is like a piece of Canada Post history, I guess. This is like a Canada Post Corporation who've been busy investigating ways to give you better service. And this is a really cool little folder. It's just got a Sherlock Holmes pattern on the inside there. And And of course a bunch of pictures and things that I had printed out that I considered framing back in the day. Some Sidney Paget artwork, old comic books. I got a bunch of Sherlock Holmes comic books and stuff as well. So that's what that is. And I think I'm going to do a Sherlock Holmes series where I just go through each thing and kind of talk about it, my history with it, what I know of it, what all this random stuff is that's made, you know, that I did when I was a kid, because I'm a huge Holmes fan. So and I hope I'm not alone in the strange things I've done as far as collecting goes and stuff. But anyway, so here we are on this shelf now, and just an old pair of glasses. This I just got a little while ago, the Sherlock Holmes Detective Agency, Baker Street. This is just a journal. The rules of deduction at the back. And then defending oneself. Walking stick or umbrella. Holmes notebook. Also got some Thompson scale showing the rate of traveling per hour. But here it's actually cool. It's set up like a case book. It's case, date, clues, suspects, notes. So it's just that. I also have the Sherlock Holmes plate. And it's Jeremy Brett on there, of course, with some Sidney Paget illustrations, Conan Doyle. And this is the professor, I believe it was Professor Bell, that Doyle had, that was the inspiration for Holmes there. So, and Jeremy Brett, the definitive Sherlock Holmes. If you think otherwise, you're wrong. Best Sherlock Holmes ever. Here we got a Sherlock Holmes nesting doll with a Watson, and then goes to, that's Inspector Lestrade, and then that's Moriarty, and then the Hound of the Baskervilles. So now that I've taken them all out, I've got to line them all up again. Just kind of a neat little thing. You collect shit over the years. I forget where I got this from, but it's a nesting doll. Some of the old cartoons, VHS copies of the cartoons, Baskerville Curse, Valley of Fear, Sally Scarlet, Sign of Four. So the four main novels in cartoon form. A Sherlock Holmes A&E special. Without a clue, one of the best Sherlock Holmes movies ever. It's just an old Sherlock Holmes book that's missing the spine. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Just an old... the actual stories, but, you know. Picked that up at a garage sale, I believe. An old cigar tin, or a cigar box there with some random stuff in it, probably. Here is The Mind's Eye, Just Beyond Listening. 12 stories, 6 cassettes of Sherlock Holmes. So these are audio cassettes. Not Basil Rathbone as Holmes, though, on these ones. So, fantastic looking box for, you know, display purposes. There we go. So that's the last bit of the shelf there. And I know the lighting down here is atrocious, but here's an old map that I printed out with some of the adventures you never got to see. Some you have. There's the giant rat of Sumatra, one of the famous ones we never really got. But just a map of England, London. This is just our stairway downstairs. But here is the framed Sherlock Holmes map that my mom had framed for me. And all the numbers correspond to places in the game where you have to travel to, and depending on where they're located depends on the travel time and things like that. So there's a game time scale. But yeah, so there's that. Just that's the stairs going downstairs, and some other stuff here. Jack the Ripper, Real Ale. Go down here. This is where the Sherlock Holmes, Inverness Cape, and Deerstalker live. We've got Sherlock Holmes towel, Best London Bitter. Here's my first Deerstalker hat as well. A little bit small for me now, but had this for forever. But yeah. Sorry, the lighting. I didn't plan on filming all this today, so my Sherlock Holmes pub and lodging dartboard, Jack the Ripper London Bitter, and Sherlock Holmes Best Bitter. I forget where I got these coasters, but anyway, so that's the dartboard, and up there we've got Jack the Ripper Tavern Free House, a Sherlock Holmes thing, which is dusty. Just that. And then Sherlock Holmes Tavern London Ales. So that's kind of the end of the tour for today, guys, but hopefully you enjoyed it. If there's anything you saw that you want me to take a better look at, let me know. I mean, as you guys can see, I've got a lot of Sherlock Holmes stuff. I probably forgot to show you a lot of it. There is a ton in this house, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, pick anything you'd like to put in the comments section, what you think, what was I thinking. Maybe let me know what you guys thought about that. And if there's anything you want to see specifically a video made on, let me know. I will do that up for you. I want to do some Sherlock Holmes stuff. Like I said, this video was not planned today, so I apologize for the kind of quality of it. I just had an opportunity. The mood kind of struck me to just go in there and do it. Didn't even dust anything, so things are a little bit dusty, which I apologize for. But it is what it is. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. It's Captain Foley, Consulting Detective, signing off for now. Bye, guys. Oh, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to check out other videos by me as well. Bye.